Hola comunidad. My name is Brenda Moreno. I she, ella pronouns, and I'm the founder of Invisible Paradigms. I'm hopping on here really quickly. It looks like we lost connection a moment ago, but we're going to restart our live to just pick up where we left off. So we're here waiting Linet to join. Go check out UBP_STEM. Hi, Sarah. We're going to be waiting for Linet to come on in and announce a little bit of what we've been working on. We are joining forces to share a series of IG Lives that we've curated, all centered around identity. What does it mean when we have privilege and oppression happening simultaneously? How does that inform the ways that we are seen and unseen, unnoticed? And as well as talk about, for her and myself, talking about being Latina and other dynamics that how that shapes. So I've sent an invitation for Linet to join. Thank you so much for everyone joining in right now. Here we are.
You see me okay?
I can see you fine. So good to see you.
It's good to see you, Brenda. I know, like classic, classic 2020, classic 2021, everything goes bust.
Yeah. Well, we're here. Uh-oh. Looks like. All right. So, Lynette, I was just telling some folks about some of the series that we're going to be doing, but I'd love just to introduce you and the work that you're doing with the Unconscious Bias Project. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Hi everybody. My name is Linet, pronouns she, her. I'm the co-executive director of the Unconscious Bias Project. Brenda just plugged us in earlier. We're at Instagram at UBP_STEM. What we are is a nonprofit dedicated to providing accessible, creative, evidence-based programs to reduce bias and unconscious bias in workplaces and classrooms. And we do this really centering the motto of like 100% empowerment. Like we want people to really engage in this really difficult, heavy stuff, but come out of it being like, you know what, I can change. You know what, I can push forward this seemingly difficult, for example, like pay equity. I can advocate for that. All it takes is me saying, hey, I need this. All it takes for me to intervene, when I see something happen is say like, hey, hold on a second, like this isn't right. That's what we really want people to come out of our programs with. And I'm just so excited to have met you, Brenda, and hear about the incredible work that you're doing at Invisible Paradigms. And I'm really excited for this collaboration.
Amazing. I think that's so important in what you're doing, Lynette, with your platform at UBP, is to make it feel like people do have a role in this, like there is a space for them. This work can feel really overwhelming because it is so complex. But because I almost draw a parallel sometimes between life and anti-oppression work, and they have a lot of similarities. This work, DEI work, is about people, about relationships, about justice, about community. And it's as complicated as life and histories that get intertwined with that narrative. So I really want to celebrate you for the work that you're doing in making folks feel like there is a space and that they have a way to enter that and move things forward as a collective as much as possible. So shout out to Unconscious Bias Project and Lynette. She is the co-executive director. And we're joining, both of us are joining on live here today. I'll reintroduce myself and then state a little bit of the purpose. So my name is Brenda Moreno. I also use she, ella pronouns, and I'm the founder of Invisible Paradigms. And yeah, a little bit about our history together, Lynette. We met last year?
Yeah.
Earlier this year.
You know what? I was gonna do like a dive. I have our like thread together pulled up, and I was
Oh,
trying to figure out when
archive.
was the first message we exchanged, and that was earlier this year, like in February. And
Okay.
I think we were connecting over, I don't know if I posted something or you posted something. Okay, so backtrack for folks joining us. Brenda and I are in this amazing program called the Coaching Fellowship, which is meant to provide like executive level life coach, like really big, powerful support, mental, emotional, for strategy, for business, for women at earlier stages in their careers. So like, huge CEOs and people, saving the world and curing AIDS, like all of these folks are doing amazing things, often have like their own crew that are backing them up. And the idea behind the coaching fellowship was, why don't we start building that crew of like really powerful, knowledgeable, wise people to support women that are making impact, that are wanting to change the world earlier? Why not give them access to coaching and that like community earlier? So anyways,
Exactly.
that's how we met.
Yeah, another great place to plug into if that resonates with you. It's a great community. Obviously, there's great people in there to get connected with. Um, Great. So, yeah, in February, we started to talk about opportunities to collaborate. I've been on this search for community in this work. Sometimes it feels isolating or lonely or hard to reach out and sort of disrupt some of the silos that unfortunately take place also in anti-oppression and DEI work. For reasons we can definitely do a seminar on, but for now, we'll cut it brief to say that it's really intentional that our connection and what we're going to announce today, there's so much intention behind it. And we started to percolate, ideas started to percolate, visions, and I really want to also celebrate Linet for this very sharp and intelligent vision of how to leverage both of our platforms. And so today we're announcing a series of IG Lives that we're starting. May 7th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And these are, I'll speak personally about what this means to me, and I'll pass it over to you, Linet, to share. But I was, in an earlier attempt of Instagram Live, I was just talking about how unusual it is to talk about myself, me, myself, and I, Brenda Rea Moreno, in invisible paradigms. And I don't often do that for a variety of reasons, but it's starting to unfold that it's really important for me to share a little bit more about how I'm coming into this work and how really internalized conversations are showing up in decisions that I take on this platform. And as I was born in Mexico, grew up in India, lived in the United States a really long time now, but this conversation that we're going to kick off on May 7th is around exploring identity and privilege. And to me, it sets the stage for further nuanced and more like dynamic conversations about our work together in this space. And I'm really looking forward to, yeah, to those. For everyone watching, please do join in. It'll feel like, uh, sitting in a big living room and hearing two friends talking, and you can definitely participate via chat. So that's kind of what it means to me. Lynette, go ahead and share anything that you want to add to that.
Yeah, I think I love what you said of and taking a tiny pause here. I was
Mm-hmm.
blown away by your work when I first got to know you, about how specialized you were and how deep you were going with people into the emotions and the challenges of starting to get into this work with an identity that is being like a white woman. Like that is its own identity. And in our work, we really focus on, what are the practical tools? We give some self-reflection, but we're not asking people to like, okay, go confront your hurt right now and see that for what it is. Go
Bye.
confront this piece right now. That's really deep. That's really powerful and amazing. And so anyway, so when we started coming around this idea, I just it was really clear to me, like, these are the kinds of conversations we want to be having with people. Like, yeah, we can talk about the structures of white supremacy. We can talk about, policies that build equity. We can talk about like this justice system and how how it needs to be changed or broken and remade and all of these different sort of like building pieces. But there's
Right.
exploration in and of itself that's missing. And to put it into context, this Identity 101 exploration series that we're trying out is part of this broader outreach program that I started designing in the unconscious bias with other folks in our community
Mhm.
that are either doing similar work or maybe they run a podcast or they do BIPOC stories for kids, all these different partners and just it's hard to stay connected. I know there's this huge article that everybody's talking about, the languishing idea. And what that makes me feel is like we need to be more connected. We need to connect more with our community. We need to keep having these conversations, keep feeding ourselves with, the light, the energy, the thinking, the soul, really, of
Yeah.
each other, even if we can't be in person, which is so powerful. And much the same as you did, as you said, I don't really talk about myself all that much in my work because I'm facilitating for other people. So I bring myself into the conversation when I have like an example.
Right.
Um, but I'm not really like, here's my personal story. This is how I worked through it. I want people to bring in their stories and think of how they would work through it. And it's something that we learned recently, and I'm sure is the case with your work and your folks that go through your programs, is that the facilitators, who is facilitating, who is speaking to them, who is connecting with them, who is helping them hold space to be
Yeah.
vulnerable, right? Like that individual, that person, their history, their identities, their experiences, everything that they bring is important for it being able to hold that space. Um, yeah, so
Absolutely.
so yeah, that was sort of like the excitement is like once we started getting talking, I was like, oh my gosh, we could talk forever.
Really, we should record these. We should
Yeah,
share.
we should record these. We should talk
Why
about it.
not
It would
share it?
be, yeah, exciting for the folks that go to our programs, that come to our like community outreach events, and yeah, just
Exactly.
a different dynamic space.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that. So, hi again to folks that are joining in. You're joining a short announcement from Lynette and I from Unconscious Bias Project. That's where Lynette is from, and Invisible Paradigms, the platform that I manage, I don't know, the organization that I founded. And we're sharing that on May 7th. We're going to have we're going to kick off the series on identity and privilege. Mostly just the identity is going to be the broad umbrella. And underneath that, or within that, we're going to unpack some really nuanced and important pieces of how ourselves as humans have interacted with social powers, constructed social powers, but also hopefully along the way engage with you and hear from you as well. Like, how have you experienced identity, privilege, marginalization, difficult conversations, parts that have felt unseen, unvalidated? This is a space, again, that should feel like a coffee conversation. So please do join, and we would love to connect with you all there. I'm just looking down my list to see if there's anything that we've missed. Um,
It's one of
yeah.
three. That's the other piece. It's one of three. So you can join us 3 times in May, and we'll do our best to record them or capture the video somehow, so you can come back
Mhm.
to it at another time. What time on the 7th? It is 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Good question, Sarah.
Great.
Sarah
And we
said.
do have another question right above there. It's to you. Nice to meet you. Do you focus on STEM?
That's a great question. So that's part of our like my organization's history, my organization's identity is that we are co-founded. I'm one of the co-founders by scientists, so people in STEM, and we started Unconscious Bias Project actually, because people in STEM are in all of the different fields of work, some of the most resistant to acknowledging that there are issues.
Mm.
Why? Because they're like, oh, it's just how well you do. It's a meritocracy, right? Like your mind is what's really important here, like not really who you are. We don't see color, we don't see gender. Yeah,
Right.
bullshit. So that's where the
Phew.
kids fall. Um, and we started there, anyways, and then since then we've expanded because slowly but surely more people wanted to work with us that weren't in STEM that really liked our approach, and so we've expanded beyond that. So yeah, that's the answer.
Great. Hopefully that was useful to Andrea there, and thank you so much for the questions, both from Sarah and Andrea. Hi to everyone else. We're excited that you're here. Um, Anything else that we want to share? I'm gonna check in.
I do want to say that although these Instagram live conversations will be between Brenda and myself, just like Brenda said, like we hope that you will be engaged, and we do plan to have a little bit of activities that you could do along with us. And so, bring a pen and paper, like, this is grab your coffee, grab your tea, like this is the time for you to engage a little bit. And it should be really fun. It's very low key and it'll be really fun.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. Um,
Did we miss
I don't
anything?
know. Yeah, it's like, I think that's it. Once again, thank you so much, Lynette, for hopping on to Invisible Paradigms. Please check them out. We're going to be having a series of 3 conversations starting May 7th. And actually, do you want to talk a little bit about what is taking place right now with the Breaking Bread and Bias?
Oh my gosh, yes, of course. So I'll say a little bit again about Breaking Bread and Bias. So Breaking Bread and Bias is the Unconscious Bias Project's outreach campaign this year. It started on March 31st with Trans Day of Visibility. My partner, my co-ED, Alexis Crone, had an Ask Me Anything session with our entire community, just really opened herself up for people to ask her questions about. We followed that up with just yesterday, we had a panel event with our awesome friends at Tamarindo Podcast. You can go check them out at Tamarindo Podcast, and at Bag Ladies, which are also a podcast, and Queen Victoria from Flex AHF. And we had a panel event about how to break through imposter syndrome, recognizing that those feelings of not belonging really comes from like that systemic racism, socioeconomic inequities, and like the real like historical impacts of policies that have really made us not belong when we really should. So that's one. And then after this series with Brenda, we'll have a whole another series around BIPOC and queer stories for kids that actually feature queer and BIPOC kids and like all their different wonderfulness, as well as a resource for parents on how to figure out if a book that's diverse is actually good as opposed to continuing to perpetuate stereotypes. And then we're capping it off in June with an event that we're still planning around resources like a hackathon around the sort of the overt violence that we're seeing towards the Asian and Asian American Pacific Islander community in the States and around the world. So it's a lot of really exciting stuff, and much like this conversation with Brenda that we're gonna evolve over a few different sessions. You can actually support us in this work. You can actually sponsor our collaboration together. And if you're interested in sponsoring, you can sponsor at any level. Of course, you can give at any level to help us cover the cost of the time and the investment that we're doing in developing these resources. So just reach out to me at UBP_STEM, or reach out to Brenda. Brenda also
Yeah.
has a sponsorship package information. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. And they can find that on your Instagram or on your website, correct?
Yes, they just DM us or go to our website, unconsciousbiasproject.org. We just launched a new website actually. And
Woo-hoo.
you
Yeah,
can email us. You can email us or submit contact information to learn more about how to sponsor this event that we're having right now.
excellent. Well, I think this has been a great point of connection with each other and with each other, folks that are also listening, but also and always with Linet. Thank you so much for today. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I'm sending you big hugs. I'm so excited. And you brought
Looking,
in yellow. We matched.
yeah, yeah.
Yellow for
I wanted to.
friendship.
It's been my color recently, and I see it everywhere. And everyone that has it is a little kid. I'm like so jealous. I had to pull it out. All right. Well, thank you so much, Comunidad, for joining. We'll see you all May 7th. Go ahead and check Unconscious Bias Project. They are UBP underscore project on Instagram. All right.
Okay.
Goodbye, everyone. See you all soon. Happy
Bye.
Friday.